Good morning. So thank you very much for coming to this Biology is Technology Symposium. This is really just a wonderful opportunity for us to get to know you and for you to know us. So we represent Darpa, which is a Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. And I'm going to have our first speaker, who's going to be the Deputy Director of the agency, come and speak with you and let you know what is a Darpa. And so without delaying much further, I'm going to introduce Dr. Stephen Walker. Steve is an aerospace engineer, so this is very typical of Darpa. He actually is a domer through and through. Got both his bachelor's, master's, and ultimately his PhD in aerospace engineering. And then he had a very distinguished government career. At one point, he was actually a deputy assistant secretary of the Air Force. He's been at DARPA for a number of years, a couple of tours, which he was a program manager, famous program manager, and I'll tell you in a moment. Then he was directed the Tactical Technologies Office, which are weapons guys, and ultimately is the deputy director of the agency. So Steve is very accomplished. He was the program manager that actually most notably developed Falcon. And Falcon is the hypersonic vehicle that DARPA got some notoriety with. That's the plane that actually achieved Mach 9 within the Earth's atmosphere, which is like incredible when you think about it. And didn't catch on fire or anything like that. So it's really very cool. So without further ado, I'm gonna let you meet Steve.
Thanks, Jeff. What that intro was about really was that I know nothing about biology, so. Thanks, Jeff, and I'm here really for 5-10 minutes to just introduce you to DARPA. Welcome you first to this event. I hear a lot of buzz from different people out there about, just a lot of excitement for the event in and of itself, and I think you won't be sorry that you attended today and tomorrow. You're going to hear from mostly our program managers on where they want to go in the future with biology. And I think it's going to be a very interesting series of talks for you to hear over the next couple days. Jeff introduced me, I'm going to introduce him. He is the director of the Biological Technologies Office, which is an office that I'll explain a little bit more about. And his deputy is Dr. Alicia Jackson, sitting right here, who many of you know. You're going to hear from their cadre of PMs today, as I said, about where they want to go in the future. And you're also going to hear some very interesting keynote talks from different people that we've invited in the field. So I'd like to have a show of hands about who's actually worked with DARPA in the past. Can I see your hands? Okay. About 30% of the audience. Who's never worked with DARPA in the past? So that's more, like 50, 60% of the audience has never worked with DARPA. So that is fantastic. We are very happy you're here. That's what this meeting is all about, to reach out to the different communities and tell you what we're about, tell you what we want to do. So just to describe DARPA a little bit, for those especially who have never worked with DARPA in the past, little thing happened in 1957 called Sputnik. A group of human beings put Sputnik in space, the first artificial satellite. That group of human beings happened to be from the Soviet Union. And back during the Cold War, it was a pretty big surprise to the United States. And a year later, 1958, Dwight Eisenhower created what was then the Advanced Research Projects Agency. And the whole purpose of ARPA at the time was to prevent that kind of technological surprise from happening to the United States again. One of the ways that we've seen over the years to prevent that surprise is to create surprise of our own for the United States and for our national security. If you talk to people in the national security world and in the armed forces, they will tell you that DARPA is very well known for developing the first stealth aircraft with the Air Force. We flew the first stealth aircraft that led to the F-117 and its ability to evade radar in Desert Storm. They'll also tell you about phased array radar work and our ability to control the electromagnetic spectrum and the early work DARPA did to understand adversary signals in that spectrum and then to produce signals we wanted the adversary to see and know about us. They'll also tell you about our work in precision navigation and timing and what that did to allow for the development of precision-guided munitions. If you talk to people outside the national security world, they'll tell you about work that we sponsored early that basically created the material science world They'll tell you about semiconductor processing technology. In the information space, you'll hear about our work in artificial intelligence and parallel computing, speech recognition. And of course, those folks will also tell you about the work we did in the late 60s to connect two computers for the first time and establish the ARPANET, which led to the internet. So what does all this have to do with biology? We have funded some work in biology over the last 15, 20 years at a nominal level to see what's possible in certain areas, and you'll hear about some of that from our folks here today, especially Jeff in his first talk will tell you about some work I think that he sponsored over the years that has really opened the door to very interesting possibilities. But it's been at a nominal level. About a little over a year ago, the director, Arthur Prabhakar, and myself decided to stand up an office solely dedicated to biology and taking biology, combining it with the physical sciences, with information technology, and with engineering, quite frankly, tools and techniques, to take biology from a science to technology and to capability. And so that's what the Biological Technologies Office is all about. You'll be hearing about that over the next 2 days. So before I get off the stage, I want to just say, how does DARPA work? Give you a few minutes on how DARPA works. We generally, you're going to hear from our program managers in the BTO. They are I like to call them the key functional unit at DARPA. They're the most important people at DARPA. You got to get to know them. We bring these people in from universities, from government laboratories, from industry, and we bring them in to DARPA for 3 to 5 year term appointments. So that's the time we give them to make something happen. They generally are people that are well known in their technical fields already. They have an adventurous and creative spirit about them. They want to come to DARPA to get something done they can't get done anywhere else. And we bring them in. As soon as we bring them in, we almost immediately send them out to engage with their technical communities and find out what the real challenges and opportunities are in those spaces, and come back and present a program plan to us that's going to change the world. We're not looking for incremental change. We're looking for something, if we can prove that this is possible, it's going to change the world. And they come back in. If we approve the plan, approve the program, they then will go out, and you'll hear a little bit more about this, I think, tomorrow, about the formal process. But we put our challenges, our problem statement in something called a broad agency announcement, BAA. And that's our challenge to the proposer community to come back with solutions. Those solutions come back in. The program manager hires performers to go make it happen. And then at the end of their program, as results are coming in, and it's looking like the program manager took something that was considered impossible and made it technically plausible, the hard work begins to try and transition those results into some sort of capability that our national security customer, or frankly the commercial world, wants to take forward from there. So we want to take that magic that's been DARPA over 57 years and apply it to biology and make biology a real technology. And so with that, I just want to welcome you one more time. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for engaging with us on this important topic. And I will turn it back over to Jeff. Thank you.